come on, y'all. We gotta find something to watch.
Corey Kenshin.
Nah, let's watch something else.
Oh, yes, Baddie.
Gang, I'm not watching this.
Yes, I love that one show about eyewitness testimonies.
Bro, don't nobody want to watch this.
Oh, shut up. You might learn something. Hi guys, welcome back to our show. As you know, in an earlier episode, we've been talking about eyewitness testimonies. In this episode, we're going to be discussing how our unreliable memories can affect eyewitness testimonies and our judicial system, with the help of Daniel Schechter and my other co-host. But first, we have to figure out who is Daniel Schechter. Take it away, Alex.
Daniel Schechter is a prominent cognitive psychologist known for his research on human memory, particularly its fallibility and constructive nature. He is a professor at Harvard University. Schechter's work highlights how memories are not perfect recordings of the past, but are influenced by various cognitive processes. His research bridges psychology and neuroscience, offering insights into how we recall, distort, and sometimes forget experiences.
Thank you, Alex. Now, to answer the question of today, are all your memories real? Stay tuned as my fellow forensic psychologists, Jalen and Alex, and with a little help from Daniel Schechter, help us to answer this question, help us better understand how our memories can be affected. Take it away.
Our memories are sometimes unreliable. And though we still don't know precisely what causes this fallibility on a neurological level, research has highlighted some of the most common ways our memories diverge from what actually happened. The Mall study highlights how we can incorporate information from outside sources, like other people or the news, into our personal recollections without realizing it. This kind of suggestibility is just one influence on our memories.
Wait, so does that mean my brain is lying to me?
No, I think it's just confused, but I don't know. Let's keep watching.
As strong you may think your memory is, this means that our memory tends to get mixed up and confused with information when other people or things interfere with them.
Take another study, in which researchers briefly showed a random collection of photographs to a group of participants, including images of a university campus none of them had ever visited. When shown the images 3 weeks later, a majority of participants said that they had probably or definitely visited the campus in the past. The participants misattributed information from one context, an image they'd seen, onto another, a memory of something they believed they actually experienced.
This experiment shows how our brains will take in new information and incorporate it into our memories and cause us to not be able to tell the difference between something that actually happened and something that we were influenced to think happened.
Our current opinions, feelings, and experiences can bias our memories of how we felt in the past.
For example, like how you now like a food that you didn't used to like, but your brain might confuse you to think that you always have liked that food.
All of these fallibilities of memory can have real-world impacts. If police interrogations use leading questions with eyewitnesses or suspects, suggestibility could result in incorrect identifications or unreliable confessions. Even in the absence of leading questions, misattribution can lead to inaccurate eyewitness testimony.
Memory can provide a very compelling and legal testimony, but rather than recording experiences flawlessly, their memory are susceptible to a various of errors and biases. They can also make errors remembering specific details and can talk about an event that didn't even happen actually.
To add on to what Jalen said, with eyewitness testimony being such a big part in our judicial system, it is important to know how our brains can fall short when it comes to memories.
Our memories are not ironclad representations of reality, but subjective perceptions. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that. The problems arise when we treat memory as fact, rather than accepting this fundamental truth about the nature of our recollections.
It is dangerous to treat memories as fact because the human brain and memory is not perfect. There are many things that can taint or confuse our brains to think that something that didn't happen actually did happen. It is important to recognize these faults because in real life situations where crimes happen and we need eyewitness testimonies, those eyewitness testimonies are what is going to help people solve crimes, catch the suspect, help the victim. And if we are oblivious to the things that affect our brain and memory, eyewitness testimony will then become useless.
This case coming up is going to give you a good example on how someone can be falsely convicted on an eyewitness testimony. Mr. Bloodworth was sentenced to death for rape and murder of a 9-year-old girl in Baltimore County, Maryland. No physical or circumstantial evidence linked Mr. Bloodworth to the crime, but 5 witnesses placed him either with the victim or near the crime scene at the time of the crime was believed to occur. DNA testing ultimately Mr. Bloodworth's innocence. He was the first U.S. death row prisoner to be exonerated by DNA, and he received a full pardon of the governor of Maryland.
As you can see, eyewitness testimony is heavily dependent on in our judicial system, even when other evidence may go against it. Eyewitnesses are often expected to identify perpetrators of a crime based off memory, which is incredibly malleable. False eyewitness testimonies may cost someone their life. For example, those 5 testimonies costed Mr. Bloodworth 8 years. But it can be more severe and cause someone to receive life or the death penalty. With that being said, people being wrongfully convicted because of eyewitness testimony is more common than we think. 75% of wrongly convicted felons were caused by false eyewitness testimonies. This leads me to think, maybe there needs to be a change in the way we use eyewitness testimonies.
I believe that DNA should be heavily dependent on when solving crime because it is most likely to lead you to a specific person. Then you can incorporate eyewitness testimony, but it shouldn't be heavily dependent on because of how our brains are so unreliable, especially in stressful situations. Once an eyewitness memory is altered, it will be very difficult, if not impossible, to restore the eyewitness original memory of the crime or perpetrator. So with knowing these faults, it isn't smart for us to heavily rely on something so unreliable.
Thank you guys for joining us today on our research. For knowledge on our brain, memory, and ways to improve our judicial system, stay tuned and we will continue to let you know on how we can improve it.